There's a new Casually Explained. Gen Z versus millennials? Oh, we gotta watch this. Cracks knuckles. Millennial pause. Harry Potter. I'm ready. This is what I'm gonna fight and die on. Can we get a truce? If you're a Gen Z, handshake before the fight. But if you're a mother cusper, can we both collectively tell them to shut the up? I don't want to hear from how I don't really know. You know, it's like I don't resonate so much with like the Gen Z slang and attitude, but I don't really feel like a millennial. I don't really know what I am. God, I don't care. Bro, somebody born in 1998 and then talking about this, they'll just never shut up. They'll talk about it for 100 years.
When someone says they were born in the year 2002, I automatically think, damn, this is the oldest looking 6-year-old I've ever seen. Well, I won't be using that one when they ask me about the island. I was born in 1996, making me just barely a millennial, meaning I'm somewhat of an expert on my older cohort who thinks doggo, pupper, adulting, and having an actual wedding to a real person they love is still a thing. Well,
yeah, what's wrong with that? Fuck, dude. I feel like millennial shit, people are talking about like it's a crime against humanity. Bro, you know what? In this crazy up world, what's wrong with a doggo and heckin' loving your wife? Honestly, it's all seeming pretty good now, huh?
Because us millennials are trying so hard to cling on to our youth, we're in fact only differentiable from Gen Z by 3 things: ankle socks, hairline, and when a DJ says,
ouch. Fucking ouch, bro. I've shown both my hairline and my ankle socks today. What the hell? What the ow? Bullseye? Jesus Christ, let me dodge a couple shots, dude. What the f? I'm getting sniped.
put your hands up, we do it with an open palm, whereas Gen Z does it with a closed palm. Gen Z does this because you
No f***ing way you guys do that. There's no f***ing way if someone says put your hands up, you do this. You have to literally, you open.
Gen X still texts like they have an old school brick phone, meaning all of their messages are like, yo, bring drinks, see you at 5, sunglasses emoji, which is at least chill and straight to the point.
Yeah.
Millennials, in contrast, have all evolved the 2-thumb texting technique, meaning they're able to send you a single paragraph long text like it's an email that you avoid opening at all costs until you really, really have to respond. Gen Z, on the other hand, sends multiple messages to indicate punctuation or a different thought, usually ending it with a skull emoji to tell you they've died and will no longer be texting you back. If you're a smug elder millennial who's like, why does my younger sibling send 4 messages back to back when they could have just typed it in 1 message?
I honestly feel like this war is already long lost. Maybe this is something I could have thought 15 years ago. I think everybody splits them up now. Gen Z or no. I feel like this war is completely over. I don't know anyone outside of like the oldest of the old who like big 1 messages instead of splitting, but maybe I'm crazy. Maybe it's just Discord culture. Like I'm a millennial talking to other millennials and we all split it up now. I think Gen Z won that battle. If that's, I wouldn't say that's a hill worth dying on. I think splitting it up looks nicer. It just looks nicer. It looks more like your mind can break it up easier. I think when you see a big block of text, your eyes glaze over a bit.
If you looked at literacy statistics recently, Gen Z doesn't know how to read, so they don't know how to punctuate in the first place. And lastly, multiple...
Okay, I want to say something I've been waiting to say, and I'm going to be real about it. I'm going to be honest. Obviously, I've talked a lot about the rising amount of illiteracy, and I am a supporter. I'm raising money for and already volunteers at Reading Partners, because I do think it's an actual problem. As someone who really does enjoy to read, and I think I'm a generally very stupid person. And the fact that my mother instilled a love in reading of me, and then I become a reader my whole life is the only thing keeping me going. I think I would have so much less to talk about and understand if I didn't read all the time. And I think reading is really cool. But I've actually noticed, and I'm talking about specifically this year, people misspelling everything all the time. So many people have been saying things where the only way you'd misspell it is if you'd never seen it in print. I'm thinking specifically of examples of like phrases like milk toast. Like if you've never seen that written, you wouldn't understand that it's not literally the words milk space toast. Like it's not like a milky toast. Or yeah, all intensive purposes. Like getting all these phrases wrong that you would never get wrong if you'd seen them written. Which means they're not reading it all. They're only hearing it in like a TikTok or something. And it's like, listen, I've been streaming for a couple years now. I'm promising you, I noticed it more this year a lot. It's like a vibes-based language. It's like they are just not learning language from reading anymore. It is only from short form video content.
When it comes to socializing and how you like to have a good time, millennials and Gen X are notorious alcoholics, but Gen X also does cocaine and millennials instead do weed.
I don't think that's lined up with statistics. I will say every generation from oldest to youngest drinks less. Gen X drinks a lot. Millennials drink a lot less. Gen Z drinks almost none. So millennials alcoholics is pretty crazy because like the most dry generation ever outside of Gen Z. Gen Z's literally lying about drinking less. That's a crazy thing to say. This like 80-year running survey is because all Gen Z are secretly. No, I'm sure some Gen Z are drinking. Of course, it's not like all, but literally the consumption of alcohol is down among young people. It's not like they're not selling as much alcohol. It's not some like crazy conspiracy where they're not buying as much, bro. In fact, dude, there was recently, this is actually really funny. If I still did wins and fails, I would have made this a win because it's not a big story, but the CEO of Heineken came out and basically pleaded to Gen Z to buy more beer and was saying, listen, I know a lot of you are lonely. You know what's a great social lubricant? Beer. He was like trying to explain how beer is so good for when you're anxious or so like they're just Gen Z's not drinking as much. I don't know how to tell you this. Maybe they're doing more weed. That seems totally fine. People tell me that, but they're not drinking as much. The consumption is absolutely down.
One thing that Gen Z clearly outdid the millennials on is their slang, because just like high school, millennials also blundered the language on more than one occasion, coining such terrible turns of phrase as doggo, adulting, epic win, on fleek, it's lit fam, swag, I can't even.
Every one of these is so based. Every one of these is just fire. I mean, absolutely. I ride or die for all of these. These are all swag. I never said on fleek, but every other one of these I've said probably unironically in my life. If I was scrolling far back enough on my Facebook, I definitely said like, holy shit, just got a brand new episode of my favorite show, Epic Win or something. I definitely commented on an early Instagram post saying that's so lit. Like 100%.
And calling any type of knowledge hacks. In contrast, Gen Z slang had a stranglehold on our broader vocabularies right away. For example, here's some Gen Z slang you hear all the time, which I will now translate in case it's not clocking to you. Let him cook. He's in the process of doing something well that isn't cooking, so don't interrupt him. She ate. She looked good or did something well that isn't eating. Riz. Charismatically flirting. Crash out. Mental breakdown. Shit.
I mean, let him cook is like, this is probably the best thing Gen Z's ever done. Honestly, Gen Z's a wash, dude, outside of the slang. Outside of the slang, it feels like not much left, but like that, they did go crazy with the slang. It was unreal. Shit slaps. Yeah, it does. It slaps. I mean, let him cook, W, Riz. And by the way, it's not like it's like just a young person thing, because I think Gen Alpha slang is terrible. I think Gen Z was uniquely good at slang.
No cap, for real, on God, for real, true, for real, facts, for real, deadass, for real, for real, for real, for real. One thing that older millennials have a terrible take on is that Gen Z has bad fashion. At the end of the day, ask most millennials and we sort of feel we grew up in the best era to be kids, but the worst era to be adults. Gen Z, on the other hand, just thinks, wait, things were actually good? As an example, when someone says make America great again, Gen Z thinks you can't make something great again if it was always trash. But millennials hear make America great again and think, remember the first 150 Pokemon? The Sega Genesis? Rock Band?
I legitimately do, kinda. I legitimately do. Like, I kinda do, bro. It was a good time.
When you made YouTube videos just for fun? Getting free malware on LimeWire, using iPod Touch to pretend to drink beer. As I was reading this, I got nostalgic and remembered some more things, so I redid the video so I could keep going. Remember Deltora Quest? Ordering things from the Scholastic Book Fair? The Bermuda Triangle? Remember burning a CD? Remember CD drives in the first place? Remember when DLC was just another game called an expansion pack? Remember rewinding a VHS before you returned it to Blockbuster? I remember.
He's farming,
anyway,
bro.
Us millennials are going to go stare at the Winamp visualizer for a while. You guys can talk amongst yourselves.
That was fun. That was a funny video. Being born in 1998 is pretty OP because my generation is whichever suits me better in my current argument. That's exactly why I preempted it. That's why I preempted it, bro. You were born in the 1900s? Don't say it like that. Dude, it's funny because it's still totally normal. It's not crazy to be born in the 1900s. Most people here in this chat, I think the majority of people still. However, going forward, like in 2045 or something, being born in the 1900s is gonna sound so crazy. Like in 2045, it's gonna be like, oh, you were born in the 1900s? It's gonna sound so wild. It's gonna sound cooked, bro.